So there I was, turning myself into a man of the future so I could try and feed the fish of the future to the nation.
Ladies, would you like to try the fish of the future? She likes it.
But how did it come to this? I was supposed to be making a programme about Britain's really disgusting food.
There's all sorts of horrible, mucousy, weird drips coming out, some of which will undoubtedly have come from the gonads.
So, well, let me tell you, it was a story involving tons of fish. Some which looked a bit odd. And some which tasted a bit odd. An awful lot that were dead. And some that weren't.
Jeez.
Oh. A story involving some pretend prawns.
Voila!
Some cuddly animals. The associates of whale killers and some celebrities.
Katie, do you eat at Nobu?
And the realisation that in the world of fish, a world of rule-breaking and waste, I could take disgusting food to a whole new level. The level of ethically disgusting.
You'll have the animal rights under you. You'll have the Greens after you.
Morning. It's 20 to 4. This is Brixham Harbour in Devon. And I'm waiting for a salty sea dog to come and collect me in his trawler, take me out fishing, and I'm ready for action. Feel fresh, feel full of excitement about getting out there and getting onto some fish. I hope it's, you know, stable. There we go.
So, as salty sea dog Graham sails me 3 miles out to sea in his trusty trawler at some ungodly hour of the morning, let me explain what was going on.
Right, we're at mackerel, cash and carry. Let's go and find some crap.
Well, me and my hidden camera had been trawling the cash and carries for some disgusting seafood. And there, among the fish cakes and the prawn toast and the popcorn shrimp, I stumbled upon something interesting.
Surimi prawn shapes. Surimi is fish meat with sorbitol.
Now, don't be fooled. Surimi prawns are not actually prawns. That's why they're half the price of real prawns. What they are is a way of using up fish no one wants by disguising it as prawns.
Excuse me, mate, can I just check this with you? These...
They're not actual prawn.
Right, there's no actual prawn meat in them?
No.
Because it almost seems like surimi prawns from the Far East somewhere. So I was quite excited, but yeah, so...
I had some, they're horrible. Oh, I bought fresh ones.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, they're very juicy. They were...
OK, no, thanks for the warning.
Something was clearly, I hate to say it, fishy in the world of fish. Fish were having to masquerade as other fish in order to get eaten. And in my local supermarket, the fish I was expecting to eat in my cheap fish fingers was no longer there.
We've got Asda, Spark Price, 10 fish fingers, minced white fish in breadcrumbs, and Bird's Eye, 10 value fish fingers, which also is minced white fish in breadcrumb.
Someone appeared to have systematically removed the cod from my favourite Friday night snack.
What are you about to do now?
They're going to slow the boat down and chuck the net over.
And how long will you leave it in the water for?
About 4 hours.
And basically, it's just the look of the draw, how many fish are going to get in that area.
I'd taken my cod-free fingers of fish to see Igor, my local purveyor of seafood.
I mean, presumably, normal fish fingers are made with cod, aren't they? Traditional. Blood minute, look at that.
I mean, you can't see too much fish in there. Probably only fish ends and bellies and stuff like that.
The stuff that you would give to a cat,
yeah,
they would...
that's going to fish fingers. They're not going to use cod. No, definitely not.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Which fish goes in there, I can't really identify.
So really, any bits of waste white fish would be ideal to make a...
To make a fish finger like that, yeah.
The question was, where had all the cod gone?
I'm feeling a bit queasy. So I've decided to get down on deck, stretch out and try and rest and keep my mind off me stomach. Only another 8 hours to go.
According to a bloke called Willie at Greenpeace, we've already used up most of the cod around our island. But it's not just cod that's going to end up disappearing from your supermarket. After my first girlfriend heartlessly dumped me, my mum told me there's plenty more fish in the sea. It turns out she was lying.
You go to your supermarket now and look at where your fish fingers come from. Your fish fingers don't come from the North Sea and from cod anymore. They come from pollock, which is fished in the Pacific. So it's halfway around the world. So that kind of shows you how much we've done to our local fisheries and kind of how much of a global problem this is. The scientists have told us that about 90% of the big fish are gone, so cod, tuna, marlin. Really? So that's not a lot left. And some scientists have suggested that if we keep going at current trends, you actually are looking at losing most of the big commercial fish stocks by the middle of this century.
The actual date some scientists have set for the end of all commercial fishing, if we carry on as we are, is 2048.
Coming out of the water. Look at that. The ocean's bounty. Come to daddy.
That's why I ended up at sea, trying to find out how on earth we could end up running out of fish.
Oh wow, look at that! Oh my gosh. So they're lemon sole you're putting in the bucket?
Very lively.
Graham had been dragging his nets in the middle of the sea for, well, anything he could get a decent price for.
There, that's the dogfish. You can have a play with them while I'm doing this.
But it was quickly apparent that Graham had caught quite a lot of fish that he wasn't going to even try selling. These fish had a name, the discards, and Willie had told me all about them.
Now, this is a huge waste of life, and it varies depending on the fishery, but you can be throwing away 30, 40, in some places up to kind of 70 or 80% of the catch. And that's fisheries for things like plaice and prawns, yeah. So it's a really wasteful way of doing it.
It's worth their while to catch a load of fish they don't need and then sort it all out and push it overboard.
Yeah, we're really wasteful when it comes to catching fish. And because it's done out of our own sight, it just gets allowed to happen.
And the whole of the fishing business will go down the pan.
Well, that's the irony, of course, is that the fishing industry is effectively committing a long, slow suicide by doing what it's doing.
Look at that, these are all whiting and they're just going back in the sea. Seems a shame.
There's just no demand.
My only
If I was to catch 10 barshes of whiting, half of them will be left on the market, so you're just wasting your time. If you're lucky, you may get 20 pence for the small whiting, so waste of work, waste of work.
Graham had thrown back almost half of his catch, dead. But he wasn't just some rogue, psycho, fish-murdering lunatic. Everyone was at it. For every 2 fish we catch, we waste 1, and it gets thrown back in dead. The thing is, fishing isn't the most precise form of hunting. If you want a fisherman to catch you a tuna for your sushi, he could end up catching some rare turtles or birds, and they end up dead. If you want a fisherman to catch you a bass for supper, he might just net himself a dolphin, and that ends up dead. And if you want a fisherman to fill your tin with fish, he might bag himself an endangered whale that ends up dead. Still, if he accidentally catches a shark, in places like Spain and Portugal, he can at least get a few quid for its fin on the black market. Then he'll throw the rest of it back alive, whereupon it will sink to the bottom and end up dead. I decided to try and stop the dwarf whiting and the pig-ugly dogfish joining the 27 million tonnes of dead fish that get thrown to the bottom of the sea every year.
Captain Riley gets his hands dirty, gets his hands in all the giblets. Look at that. It's obscene, all this goo in the inside. Oh, jeez.
What happened then? You'll have the animal rights under you.
Yeah, but it was wriggling, wasn't it? I don't want it still to be wriggling. I want to get it to die.
You'll have the greens after you.
I think it's dead now.
How do I got this?
No, you don't got them.
Good.
No.
Back on shore, I went off to dispose of the evidence of my dogfish assault and to make sure that my fish didn't die in vain.
Hiya, I've got some fish for you to buy.
Meat pile for you?
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look then. Right, okay, it's dogfish. I'm looking for dogfish, that kind of size.
Yeah. What?
That's the kind
Is
of
that a
size.
dogfish?
That is a dogfish, yeah.
Now, look at that one, it's a monster.
It's too small, people won't buy it. They'll say to me, that ain't worth catching that one, they just chuck it back.
All right, what about the whitey?
No, it's too small for me, I couldn't sell that.
There's some bigger ones, Just have a... look at that, a couple of them are huge.
I think, mate, it's your glasses magnifying it. Because
It's nearly big enough.
in my eyes, that's small. Take it home, put it in your freezer and have it yourself.
Right, well, thanks anyway. I'll see you. See you.
Graham was right. It had been a waste of work. No one wanted to buy my fish. They were too small. Of course, now that they were dead, they were never going to grow any bigger. The thing that struck me was, no matter how disgusting all this waste was, it was hard to get people to care about fish. After all, I just clubbed a small dogfish to death, and you wouldn't catch me doing that to, say, a small piglet or any of the other animals I eat. In order to try and get us to care more about fish, a load of celebrities had stripped off to show how much they loved them. But as soon as Greta Scacchi's pubic hair got spotted, their message got a bit lost. What the naked fish lovers had been trying to get us to do was to only eat fish that was ethically sourced. And to help us find the most ethical fish, the Marine Conservation Society had produced a handy guide.
So I'm just going to see which of the popular species we can eat whenever we want. Haddock, no. Hake, no. Halibut, no. Mackerel, no. Plaice, no. Skate, no.
All the fish I loved could only be eaten if they came from certain sustainable stocks. Or I'd have to start eating other more ethical fish instead, like the hoki, the mulloway, the tilapia, the sablefish and the toothfish. Not that I could recommend any of them, because I had absolutely no idea what they were. It seemed clear that if I was going to track down disgusting fish, it wasn't going to be about disgusting ingredients or disgusting taste. I was going to have to enter a whole new arena, the arena of ethically disgusting food.
I'm on my way to Brussels to go to the largest seafood trade show in the world, and I'm basically on the lookout for the most disgusting, most ethically reprehensible, morally bankrupt fish I can possibly find. This is it then, European Seafood Exposition.
At the expo, there were more than 22,000 delegates from over 145 countries, any one of whom might know what was the world's most ethically disgusting fish. There was also a man with some leaflets who everyone seemed very keen to ignore.
What's this? What's this about?
It's about illegal fishing.
Illegal fishing?
Yeah.
Is that a big problem?
Yeah.
Who's doing it?
I invite you to go to the website of Greenpeace and...
Greenpeace?
Yeah, it's about Greenpeace.
Aha! Yeah. And are you getting a good response from delegates?
Not very good, no.
Now, maybe it had nothing to do with me making a new friend in a yellow jacket, but one minute I was inside, admiring the architecture.
It looks like some sort of fascist government ministry or something. It doesn't really say fish.
No to film here. Okay?
And the next minute I wasn't. Suddenly, me and the team were confined to the press tank.
Security is very tight. They're quite touchy about everything that goes on. The room that we're sitting in is probably the least fishy room I've been in. I can say with some degree of confidence there are no fish in the press room, not one. And the other side of the press room, loads of it. As far as the eye can see, there are stands selling fish from all the nations of the world, all the seas of the world. And there's a real buzz, there's a real hubbub of activity. It's just... What are you doing, man? Do you want to get us thrown out? You idiot.
Finally, our people got onto their people, some faxes were exchanged, and after about 3 hours, we were good to go.
Great, thank you. Hey, we're on, we can film at the show.
Once I got out of the press room, I found some fish.
Which one's Marlin?
Some of which were tasty, and some of which I'd never seen before.
Oh, look at that one. That one's been sick. Look. Excuse me, what's this? What's coming out of its mouth?
Is the leg.
Oh, the tongue. Is it really? Oh.
No, it was its swim bladder. But then I found a top bod from the Worldwide Fund for Nature, who explained the fish's problem on a level I could understand.
Well, you know, you can put it pretty simply. It's just there are too many boats chasing too few fish.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you've got too many boats chasing too few fish, what happens is that...
You do the maths.
Well, you do the maths. And what happens is you start catching smaller ones, you start catching juveniles, then the fish stock doesn't have a chance to replenish itself, and then you go then into almost like into a spiral. You start going downwards.
I went back on the search for the most ethically disgusting fish and the fishermen who fished it. I spoke to almost every delegate, to a mermaid, and even to a seafood magazine editor.
Who are the biggest villains?
I wouldn't like to comment on that.
Come on, dig the dirt. Let's hear it. Who's extracting the fish?
No, I really wouldn't like to comment. It's beyond the best. So.
The fish folk were unwilling to turn on their own kind, but the fish folk had attracted the anti-fishing folk to town.
I've just got a text message from my contact. It says, Nina will be by the lake in Leopold Park at 8 p.m.
Nina is banned from the expo, quite possibly because last year she helped bring the expo to a complete halt with her protesting.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you Nina?
That's me.
Hello, I'm Alex. Hi.
Hi,
nice to meet you. Hi there.
All fish might be heading towards extinction, but Nina knew the identity of the fish that's likely to be the first to completely disappear. There, on a massive banner hanging from last year's expo, was Nina's nomination for the most ethically disgusting fish in the world. The bluefin tuna.
How long have we got bluefin for?
Just a couple of more years. I don't want to get into numbers here because I'm sure I'm going to be attacked by industry about this.
But really critically low numbers of bluefin tuna.
Critically low numbers, definitely. And it's very clear if the fishery is not being closed down, this fish might just not survive. And actually there are already studies now which are saying that no matter if you close down the fishery now or not, it's just not going to survive anyway.
So it's too late?
That's what there are studies out there that say that, yes.
The bluefin might just look like a really big fish, but what's amazing about the bluefin is that it tastes so good that a single one can sell for over £50,000. Unfortunately for the bluefin, that means quite a few people are out to catch them, because oddly, the fact that something is endangered doesn't mean you have to actually stop eating it. I'd been pointed in the direction of the most disgusting fish around, so I went back to the expo.
Hey, we're in.
I thought the people who were helping fish a species into extinction might be hiding away, but no. There, under a massive plastic bluefin, was Ricardo Fuentes, Europe's biggest bluefin company, with an annual turnover approaching £200 million. I had a word with their man, Aurelio.
Is it getting harder to catch bluefin? Have you noticed it? The harvest is less from the sea?
Yeah.
It's reducing?
Reducing, yeah.
And so, if the bluefin tuna dies out completely, what business will you go into?
For example, Ricardo Fuentes group is now working in sea bass, sea bream, frozen products, so many other lines of production. If we can't work in this kind of business, no problem. We must look for a new business.
Ricardo Fuentes had made provision for business post-bluefin extinction. But I wondered if that was going to be good news for the future prospects of the sea bass, the sea bream and the prawn. Now I knew the identity of our most ethically disgusting fish, I went to get my hands on it. But finding bluefin tuna wasn't that simple.
Steaks, give me some, yellowfin.
All the tuna I could find was yellowfin or skipjack, or albacore.
Albacore? What the hell's that?
For once, our disgusting food isn't kept on the cheap shelves. It turns out you can only get your mouth round a bluefin if you're special and prepared to part with quite a lot of money.
We've met in this underground car park because we're going to do some secret filming.
I was on my way into the heart of Mayfair for lunch at the Japanese fusion restaurant Nobu. Nobu is owned by chef Nobu and Robert De Niro. It's the hangout of lots of celebrities, and this is the final resting place of lots of bluefin.
Thank you very much.
The question was, could bluefin really be so tasty that the well-to-do couldn't stop themselves from eating it into extinction?
So, here goes. It's probably what it was like, eating a dodo in the 18th century or whatever it was. It doesn't taste disgusting, but maybe it is disgusting because it's going extinct.
Okay, you too, bye-bye.
There was something about eating an endangered species for lunch that didn't seem quite right. I was off to perform an experiment to determine whether endangered species should be taken off the menu, or whether rich people should be allowed to continue eating their way through them one by one.
This is the South Asian river dolphin, of which there are 1,200 surviving in the wild as we speak. This is the giant panda. There's 1,600 of those left at the moment. And this is the black-breasted leaf turtle, which we don't know the numbers, but we know that it is endangered.
So, would Nobu's clientele be happy to find any of these endangered species on their menu, or is it just fish that they're happy to eradicate?
Come on, you guys.
When I got to Nobu, I noticed that even they seemed to want their customers to leave the poor old bluefin alone.
We've got the bluefin here, the asterisk, and at the bottom, bluefin tuna is an environmentally threatened species. Please ask your server for an alternative.
Why they didn't just take ethically disgusting fish off the menu altogether, I wasn't sure.
Hi there, can we have a chat with you? BBC food documentary? I want to ask you about bluefin tuna and other endangered species. Are you celebrities? It's a bit drafty. Excuse me, we're filming for a BBC fish documentary.
OK.
Hi there. We're filming a BBC documentary about fish. Can we have a quick word? Nah. Yeah, they look pleased though. They obviously had a nice lunch.
Nobu's regular customers were experiment unfriendly, but then I had a tip-off that Jordan, one of Nobu's uber celebrity customers, was about to surface.
Apparently Jordan, aka Katie Price, is in a hotel just round the corner, and it looks like she's going to leave. Be careful crossing this road, you're already endangered. I don't want to lose any more of you.
She was in the middle of her very public marriage meltdown, and I wasn't the only one waiting for Mrs. Andre. That's not her, by the way, but she did come out right after.
OK, thank you. Katie! Hello? Alex Riley from the BBC. Katie, do you eat at Nobu? Would you rather have turtle, shark or giant panda if you can't get bluefin tuna? No. Okay. So she obviously didn't hear what I was saying and didn't go very well, to be honest. So we'll just have to accept that that's a don't know or not applicable. So back to the drawing board, back to Nobu. Let's go.
Nobu's customers were keeping quiet. I thought I should clarify the position of the non-Nobu frequenting public.
Excuse me, madam. We're filming for a BBC documentary about fish.
Oh, fish! I love fish.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes.
Lovely. Well, at this restaurant here, they sell the bluefin tuna, which is endangered.
Oh, yeah.
And in 3 years' time, they think they'll all have gone. So we've had some ideas of other endangered species we could put on the menu in its place. So we've got the South Asian river dolphin, which we would do as a teriyaki. Giant panda tataki with a white miso soup, and then we've got the black-breasted leaf turtle with we'd have that wasabi pepper. Any preference between the three of them, or
Save them all. Don't eat them.
Come on, which of these three animals would you most like to eat? Well, look, you know.
No, I wouldn't eat none of them.
But they could be very tasty and delicious, done in a traditional Japanese way with a bit of ginger.
Yeah, I respect, but I wouldn't do something like that.
No, okay.
I couldn't.
I couldn't break her. I tried and tried. I tried to get her to decide on one if she was really hungry, but no, she just thought there was no real need to eat an endangered species. Maybe Nobu could think along those lines.
The people on the streets had spoken. Endangered species had no place on their menu. The people of Nobu refused to show their bluefin extincting faces, but they did send me a message. As I read their statement, take this chance to see some bluefin tuna before it all gets eaten into extinction. Nobu restaurants take the issue of bluefin tuna and its environmentally threatened status very seriously and always has done. The consumption of this fish is a cultural institution in Japan, and there's still an enormous demand for this delicacy at all our restaurants. We're also currently looking at Australian farm-raised tuna as an alternative. So there you go. For the time being, bluefin will remain on Nobu's menu. So if you want to eat our most ethically disgusting fish, make sure you get down there sometime soon. Because if you leave it any longer, there won't be any left. If you are too late, don't despair. If we carry on as we are, the swordfish, the orange ruffy, the sturgeon and the marlin will soon be on their way out. Then all other fish will follow. It seems strange that whole species were being fished to extinction. After all, someone had gone to a lot of trouble to make a lot of rules about who was allowed to fish what and where.
OK, I'm going to start off with herring. Now, that's in the North Sea, so pop that there. 0 to 6 nautical miles, only a boat registered in that country can fish. Britain. Now, who else? 6 to 12. Only fish if your boat is registered in that country or if you have historic fishing rights. We've got Netherlands, Germany and France. Then 12 to 200 nautical miles, only people whose vessels are registered in an EU country can fish in. If the distance between an EU and non-EU country is less than 200, well, so that's everybody then, isn't it?
Basically, I'd found out that if you were a fish who wanted to know who you belonged to, you'd probably need to get hold of a red pen and an awful lot of stickers.
So, for example, if you're a cod and you're in this area of the Atlantic in V111E, there are certain boats that can try and catch you. However, when you move over the border into another area, perhaps other countries now have a quota for you. So you're trying to dodge some different nets. And then you come up through here and there's different boats have got a quota for you. But some will probably be lying in wait. So it can spot you and you're about to come into their area where they have got a quota because they're not allowed to get you when you're over that other area. So they're waiting here.
Clearly, there were plenty of rules about who could catch what. The problem seemed to lie with the maths of how many fish could actually be caught.
Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I make that 6 goldfish. Be interesting to see what number the Fisheries Minister comes up with.
If you can't agree on how many fish there are, it's quite tricky setting a quota for how many should be caught. Take the bluefin. Last year, fish counting scientists said for the bluefin to survive, you should only catch between 8,500 and 15,000 tonnes. But the politicians who set bluefin quotas said, nah, you can catch 22,000 tonnes. Then the fishermen went out and caught over 61,000 tonnes. It was the same story with lots of fish. I'd booked an interview with Hugh Arranca-Davies, Britain's Fisheries Minister. I know fish move around a lot, making them hard to count, but I was fairly confident I'd correctly counted 6 fish in my tank. Judging by the fish-catching quota system, my guess was Hugh would think I had 9.
Filming for the BBC, we've got an appointment with Hugh Arranca-Davies, the BBC 3. Hugh Arranca-Davies, the Fisheries Minister.
I want some people here from BBC. Are you expecting them? With fish and some camera crew? Oh, I believe that's been cancelled.
What?
The Right Honourable Hugh Arranca had stood me up.
We've been told it's been cancelled and you got to leave reception.
There's nobody else who could just, from the ministry, who could just have a chat, just to explain the system to count, they're using to count the fish.
No, they said it's all been cancelled.
How many fish do you think are in the tank? There's, well, that's a politician's answer. There's actually 6. There's 6 in the tank. But, you know, politicians might say 7, 8, possibly 9.
No.
They tend to...
They tend to add about 50% on top. I don't know how they're doing it. The lady on reception, she said 7. So I don't know. Maybe that's a new system of accounting that have been adopted by the ministry, and all members of staff have to abide by it.
Unable to talk to a politician, I turned to the fishermen. Luckily, fishermen weren't so slippery to catch. I cornered Phil, a spokesman for the UK fishing industry, on the roof of the BBC.
We're fishing too much. There's not much fish left in the sea. People are telling me that the fish are all going to run out. Our whole fishing fleet's going to be unemployed. What can we do about it?
We can take a reality check because it's not that bad.
Isn't it?
No. If you look at the figures that come from the United Nations globally, they will show you that despite everything we've thrown at the world's fish stocks, still, of the 523 stocks that they assess, 75% of them are either giving their maximum sustainable yield or could give more. That's actually quite a good record.
In the world, though, but I mean, we're talking about the EU, where 88% of stocks are overfished, aren't they? So, I mean, that's a bit...
That doesn't always mean they're depleted. So, they may be...
But overfished sounds quite bad. It sounds like you're taking more than can effectively replenish itself.
That's right. We haven't managed fisheries well. And in fact, it's only in the last 10 years or so that we've learned how to manage fisheries better.
I mean, looking at the actual quota system, scientists say one figure, and then the politicians set a figure that's 50% higher.
Yeah. It's no good for anybody. It's no good for fishermen. In the short term, maybe they'll make a few more quid, but it's no long-term solution, and we do need to get a full political commitment to respecting scientific advice, because it's a major failing of the common fisheries policy over the years. But I think that we have the will and the capability of managing our fish stocks for the future.
Our fisheries minister had been in touch. He agreed with the fishman. The maths had been all wrong. While I read you some of the statement Hughes people sent me, take this opportunity to see if you too can count like a politician. Incidentally, there's a picture of Hugh behind my fish. We recognise that member states negotiating each year to determine the total allowable catch is not a good way to manage fish stocks, and short-term influences have contributed to current poor stock levels. Ministers must also consider the socio-economic impact in setting quotas to ensure that fisheries are managed to provide for both the long-term sustainable exploitation of fish stocks and the future economic viability of the fishing industry. We believe the best way forward is having long-term management plans in place to achieve the maximum sustainable yield. It sounded good. Unfortunately, nothing is actually going to happen until 2012. Maybe by then there'll be so few fish left, they'll find them easier to count. Then I heard about a huge stockpile of seafood on the other side of the world that it seemed no one wanted to eat. By the magic of television, we leap forward 12 hours. I'd arrived in Japan, the world's most fish-obsessed country, which has the world's biggest fish market full of the world's oddest fish.
Look at that thing! It's like stuck in the corner. Can't move forwards, can't move backwards. Oh, gee.
And the average Japanese person fills their belly with more fish than anyone else, which made it all the more surprising that they apparently had tons of fish going to waste. Well, technically, it wasn't fish at all. It was whale meat. But if fish disappear, whales may be the only seafood we have left.
It's whale meat. Wow. Beautiful.
Look like a human, right?
Pardon?
Tastes like human, right?
Yeah, I've never eaten human, so I don't know.
Now, because some whales are facing extinction and don't die very nicely, most of the world has agreed not to kill them. But the Japanese have found an ingenious loophole. They found out that they were allowed to keep killing whales for scientific purposes. Like fish, whales are difficult to count when moving, so the Japanese whalers seem to have made the logical leap in deciding they'd better kill the whales first to stop them moving, and they wouldn't make any mistakes. Last year, they're pretty confident they killed and counted 679 whales. The Japanese then decided it would be a shame to let all the whales go to waste, so they might as well eat them. My fixer Mai took me to my first whale meat restaurant.
Oh, this is fabulous. We'd like some whale meat, please. The sort of selection box of eggs. Thank you. Hi. What, hi, that means yes. Yes. I mean, I'm not telling you what it means. That was me asking you what it means.
It was time for my first taste of that almost extinct, warm-blooded, air-breathing, whale song-singing, baby-nursing, sleeps-with-one-eye open food, the whale.
Oh, lovely. Whale meat stew. Oh, it's lovely. Here we go, deep-fried whale meat.
Now, some people might think eating whale meat is disgusting, but to me, it seemed better than it going to waste.
That's lovely. Right. Lovely, isn't it?
The problem was, not everyone was thinking like me. Hidden somewhere in Japan was a massive stockpile of whales that had been counted and were now dead, but were in danger of going to waste because these days only 1% of the Japanese actually eat whale meat. That means there's 3,000 tons of it. That's 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth, sitting around unused. If I could get my hands on that whale meat, I could help stop us having to live in a world without seafood. The question was, are whales a disgusting food that will never be prepared to stomach? I'd already done some research, and that obviously involved going to Wales.
Excuse me, lads, we're filming for a BBC documentary about food, and we're asking people for their views about whales.
About what? No problem.
Well, the sea-bound mammal, whale meat. Sorry, yeah, I was just... Would you consider eating whale meat?
No, not particularly, no.
Why not then? Why wouldn't you?
Aren't they like an endangered species?
I think the ways that whales get caught and like killed and stuff puts me off a little bit. It doesn't seem very humane, to be honest.
Right.
So personally, I wouldn't eat whale meat.
Even if it was cheap?
No.
Actually, you're talking about higher order mammals, so I probably wouldn't. With the consciousness thing, I guess people are...
What do you mean by that? Explain.
Well, there are levels of mammal, aren't there? And dolphins and whales are the higher order. So the intelligence would make them more subject to ethical consideration.
Would you try whale meat?
Depends. I don't know if it was in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Then I might try it.
Is there a difference?
I don't get this whole sort of, you know, I'm alright eating this animal, but I'm not alright eating that animal. And like, yeah. I don't think it's particularly cruel.
Well, apparently what they do is they have these harpoons with grenades in them, and they kind of, you know, the ship's going up and down. They shoot it in, it goes down in the middle of the whale and explodes inside, but it doesn't necessarily die immediately.
Whales seem to prove that getting us to eat whales might be problematic. Luckily, from my years investigating disgusting food, I knew a way around it. The secret all good food manufacturers use to get people to eat food they don't really want to eat is to mash it up and disguise it. I needed to master the ancient Japanese art of surimi, the art behind surimi prawns and crab sticks.
Right, so I've got me surimi prawns. Look at them. They're massive, aren't they? So I'm going to try and see if I can create something like this, and maybe even more realistic, get it looking a little bit more like the genuine prawns. I've got hold of some pollock fillets. Now, I've finally chopped it, so washing in counterflow fresh water. And I believe that that's designed to get rid of the strong taste of the original fresh fillet of fish. This is not how they do it in the factory. They don't actually use hands, but I have washed my hands before I did it, so it should be all right.
To my tasteless minced fish, I had to add some shrimp paste.
Oh, jeez!
To put some taste back in.
That is raw surimi, the base product from which all other animals can be created with a fishy flavour. Doesn't look like a prawn at the moment, but that's because we haven't put it in the shape. It's only the shape that's wrong. Getting a nice curve on it there. Get that, it's good. Yeah, let's see. Let's just get, I think there's, yeah, okay. I tell you what, I'm going to do like a line along the back to suggest the spine. Voila! Now, if that doesn't look like a prawn, then I don't know what does.
With my newfound surimi skills, I was confident I could turn the Japanese whale stockpile into a new seafood product for Britain. Mai had sorted out a meeting with the Japanese Whaling Association, who represent the people who had killed and counted the whales. Before we went in, she wanted a word.
they don't know you are a funny person, and I'm sure they're expecting a very serious one, because especially you're from the BBC, they're prepared for that.
Right.
So when you go inside, try to be as sort of like square as possible, dress up properly, and careful with what you're going to ask.
You nervous? A little bit, yeah. I don't know, it's quite weird when you can't actually speak the lingo. I had a quick look over the partition there, but I couldn't see any whales stockpiled. Right in here. Hey, look, it's the stockpile. We thought it'd be in a warehouse, but no, it's in flipping boxes, lunch boxes, secreted around all the skyscrapers. That is clever. That is flipping clever. That is. Damn. Right, how much can we get in the bag? First of all, could you explain about the work of the Japanese Whaling Association, what it sets out to do?
So there I was, face to face with the whale counters and killers. You may have noticed I don't speak much Japanese, so Mai will have to tell you what they said.
It seems like people in the world have misunderstanding about whaling. In Japan, we have a very long history, tradition and culture of whaling. Japanese people take animal protein from the sea, so that means we take this protein from fishes, and we think that whale equal fish.
We've heard that supply is outstripping demand at the moment, and that there's a surplus of whale meat that's being stockpiled at the moment.
We have some stock, but I don't think it's too much.
No. But would it be possible to get hold of this stockpile? Obviously, it takes up space, which is money. I've got an idea of a way that this meat could be utilised. This was problematic, this stage of the process. To drain the water was very hard. It's an idea for eat the prawn. That's an actual one we bought from a supermarket.
Thank you very much for this idea, but at the moment, if you look at the world economy, it's not doing well.
No.
It's not really doing well. We are in a really
so a cheap
recession.
product like this might be.
But he believes that once the economy gets better, they can start selling whale meat more. So we don't need to. He doesn't need to do this.
Okay, so there's, you don't want to sort of let me have a few whales, any of these whales that are stockpiled. You wouldn't be able to let me have them for nothing.
I left without a single whale. My hope of feeding disguised whale meat to the British was as dead in the water as the whales. But I thought I ought to check out whether or not demand for whale meat in Japan would return once the recession was over. Because if not, the death of all those whales might seem a little bit pointless.
BBC TV, can I speak to you? BBC? Whale meat, do you eat? Come back! Nah!
Eventually I stopped frightening the local schoolgirls and collected enough data to send to the Japanese Whaling Association. Dear Mr. Ito,
following our chat yesterday, I thought I'd test your theory that the stockpile of whale meat will all be sold once the recession is over.
Do you eat the big...
Of the 32 people I spoke to, only 13 had eaten whale meat.
Good Gillette, yeah? It's nice? Yeah, you like?
Of these, only one said they were likely to eat more once the recession is over.
When the economy improves, would you buy more whale meat?
Of course not.
19 people said they had no interest in eating whale meat, whatever the economic circumstances.
No.
No.
No. No.
No. In conclusion, it is highly unlikely that consumption of whale meat will increase sufficiently to clear the growing stockpile. Yours sincerely, Alex Captain Riley. They didn't reply. Presumably, they're going to keep on counting whales until the count is 0. To stop me leaving Japan empty-handed, Mai decided to let me in on the latest Japanese fish innovation, a restaurant where no fish was ever wasted. Here, a fish only got caught by the person who was going to eat it.
That's how you do it. What kind?
It's a red sea bream.
Oh, that is man v fish, and man won. That's very exciting. Thank you. It's just this kind of a gimmick that could get us British interested in a wider variety of fish, because that sense of like killing your own food is very primeval, and it could well be an excellent string to Britain's culinary bow. Wow. Woo. Look at it, it's fantastic. Sorry about that, mate, but it was either you or me.
So there I was, making wisecracks at the expense of my fish, when it suddenly seemed that he might actually be listening.
That fin is twitching, that's the only thing. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. No, that's horrible. I can't believe that. I can't, oh dear.
Get over yourself.
Fair enough, catch it, then kill it, bang. Stop, put it out of its misery, but leaving it, slicing it open, slicing all the meat off it, and it's still not even dead, and it's like there, twitching. I mean, what it must be going through, I have no idea. Is it possible to I didn't think I was squeamish about fish until I saw that, to be honest. I don't know. I think if you're gonna eat it, you should kill it first. I just think that's. I think that's a basic.
I know fish is alive, but fish is fish. But you don't really consider more like animal. Fish is
feeling
food.
Pain or.
You don't really think that way. If you do that, you can't eat anything.
Arigato. Yes. It's definitely dead now, isn't it? Yes, that's better. That looks better. Anyway, I will eat the rest of it now. I mean, I don't want it to go to waste.
I was back in Britain and no further forward with finding a new seafood product. I decided to find out what we were likely to end up eating if the fish did indeed run out.
I think I'll just go with chips, please.
Just chips. Sure, thank you.
As you might guess from my lunch date's fishless order, Melissa was from the Marine Conservation Society. I was having a large haddock. It was dead.
Fish, you know, they're a great resource for us, but they're not farmed like our chickens and lambs. They're, you know, they are exhaustible, and they're part of an ecosystem that other species rely on. Seals, dolphins, whales, and also they're important downwards. So if you lose cod, you will find that you'll get an explosion of other species that used to be their prey, so spider crabs or lobsters, and you think, oh, that's great, loads of crab to eat, yeah? But then, if we started to eat the crabs, then what are we left with? Well, what do the crabs eat? And one day, if we carried on like that, we could end up with worms. And
worms?
You know, if you kept going down the food chain and taking these species out, causing an imbalance, you're going to end up with a very small thing that can continue to thrive even under our fishing pressure. We've seen this around the world. In Namibia, for example, there's massive jellyfish plagues, and it's not immediate hype that you might be eating a jellyfish burger one day, because if we continue the way we were, it's possible that you could end up with a totally non-fishy species like jellyfish in your burger or with your chips.
Melissa was a genius. I was off to get ready for the fishless future.
Now, I'm in Carmarthenshire in South Wales, where apparently there's quite a few big jellyfish going begging. Let's go jellyfish hunting, come on!
Of course, for a successful jellyfish hunt, you need more than just a net. You need a highly qualified marine biologist.
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like there's any jellyfish.
Mine was called Vicky.
Is that one? Oh my goodness, it's enormous.
Now, this is a particularly big specimen. You can see, so these are the tentacles, and you can see under here this kind of white milky, that's the gonads underneath.
The what?
The reproductive organs. Okay. Do you want to pick one up? I've got some gloves.
Yeah, okay. Flipping heck, it weighs a ton.
They can weigh sort of up to 15 kilos.
But this is upside down. Let me try and put it the right way up. Here we go. Oh dear, it feels really weird putting my fingers inside it.
The handle.
Oh.
There we go.
And there's all sorts of horrible, mucusy, weird drips coming out, some of which will undoubtedly have come from the gonads. So, put it back on its back. So, I mean, in terms of eating...
From what I understand, these are the arms are the bit that are generally eaten in Asia.
Right.
They're the delicacy.
So has there been an increase in sightings in this area then?
Definitely, yeah. They're filling up fishermen's nets, or they're blocking power station water in. It's becoming a commercial problem and threatening an economic problem, which is why there's so much interest in it.
Right, so we get it in here. Look at the flap on it there, look at that. Gosh. It's very heavy. Do you ever have to carry them off the beach yourself, or do you just come and...
we don't normally take them off the beaches.
I had myself the fish of the future.
Thank you.
It was time to give the people a taste of that future.
I'm in North Devon. There's a surfing festival going to happen at the beach that's just over that side, and we've come down with this van. I'm going to prepare some jellyfish dishes to show people what a fishless future will taste like.
Due to health and safety considerations, my fish and chip chefs were going to use some imported jellyfish from Hong Kong, not the one I'd scraped off the beach.
That's the jellyfish that you just opened the packets of?
That is, yeah. It looks right. It looks quite appetising, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And look at that, it's like some sort of serial killer's skinned his mother or something. It's like pieces. Look at that, it's a piece of skin. If you wanted to make a skin suit, you could do a lot worse.
For maximum credibility, my van had to be turned into a van of the future, using tin foil, and I into a man of the future.
Hello, I am Captain Riley, and I come to you from the future. A future where man has taken the sea's bounty and eaten it all, leaving nothing behind except jellyfish. The seas are now thick with jellyfish, striking fear into the hearts of swimmers and surfers alike, who tremble at the sight of their watery heads and their stingy tendrils. Ladies, would you like to try the fish of the future? My name is Captain Riley, and I come from a future where all the fish have disappeared from the seas, leaving nothing behind except jellyfish. These jellyfish are available fully cooked this afternoon in Croydon, that grassy bank area there, from a LDV Sherpa covered in silver foil.
Good, smashing. See what you think about it.
It was time to do some cooking, 2048 style.
These are the tentacle bits of the jellyfish, not the bell end of the jellyfish. This is like a tuna mayonnaise with sweet corn. So I'll put the mayonnaise in, mix that round, sweet corn in, pop that on the bread. Yeah, that's nice, it's looking good. Barbara, would you do the honours, please? Thank you. She likes it. She's loving it. She's loving the fish of the future. Look at that. In China, they can't get enough of this stuff. It's from the Pacific. It's jellyfish. The point is, at some point in the future, there could be no more actual fish left in the sea. It'll be jellyfish or nothing. That's the worst case scenario. It's a chilling prospect. Pardon?
No way of stopping it.
Nah, it's fucked.
That's not strictly true. There are ways of stopping the future being fishless. Willie at Greenpeace had a few ideas.
What can I do, Willie, to avoid having to eat Sandy in about 30 or 40 years' time?
Well, I think the thing is that what we need to do is we really need to change the fishing industry now to make sure that we have a reasonable fishing industry in the future. And that means we need to kind of give the fish a break. We need to fish less, we need to reduce the amount of fishing boats and fishermen that are out there trying to catch all the fish, and we need to waste less when we do it.
But why are governments not doing that?
It's quite simple. I mean, the things that would be protected, fish, starfish, jellyfish, corals, do not vote, fishermen do.
With the future of the fish in the hands of the politicians, I still wasn't convinced that fish had that much of a future. Although I realised that I was onto a winner. Either we gave the fish a break by eating jellyfish, or we ran out of fish and ate jellyfish. And I also knew that jellyfish didn't have to taste disgusting. I'd found a way to make them to everyone's taste. Batter them.
Right, now these are altogether more appetising. Go on. That's it.
It's fine, it's just like eating normal fish, but salty.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah? Is it better than cod?
Yeah, do it.
Definitely so. I'd say with you.
Yeah?
No, have more.
Have some more.
You got some more.
The kids love it. Yeah, so you've nothing to fear from the future?
No.
No, everyone can eat jellyfish.
So there you go. We may have to learn to live in a fishless future. But I walked into the future safe in the knowledge that so long as we didn't run out of batter, we'd be okay.
Fish finger sandwich, anybody? Later at 10:30, it's meat on the menu as we set out to find the young butcher of the year. Next tonight on BBC Three, it's EastEnders.